Even federal employees with disabilities can't catch a break.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
So the CDC has become one of the first federal agencies to formally revoke teleworking availability to staff who have legitimate disabilities.
What?
Reasonable accommodation is what it's also known as out in the private sector. But, that's where you have a staff member who requests a reasonable accommodation to accommodate their special need or their disability. And that could be anything. I don't know, anxiety, that can be PTSD, that could be chronic depression, chronic fatigue. You could be legally blind. You could be in a wheelchair. So many variations of legitimate disabilities where reasonable accommodations by employers were put forward to assist those who might be at a disadvantage and not quite as capable as other people. Now, I know this is going to spark a debate between people because you can't discriminate against people with disabilities and not offer them the opportunities that you make available to people without disabilities. So in this case, a reasonable accommodation for a telework request because I have a disability is not necessary. They're kind of not necessarily in violation because the federal administration is taking away or has taken away teleworking availability for all, for all. So it's not like people without disabilities are still being offered the opportunity to telework, whereas people with disabilities are not. Now, sure, I've been a federal employee for almost 20 years, and I've seen it. I've seen some shenanigans, but I believe that the majority of reasonable accommodations that are put in for staff who have disadvantages or disabilities are 100% valid. They are, and I think that's a great tool that every employer, private or public sector, should have. The CDC has formally come out and yanked all of those reasonable accommodation opportunities or availabilities for its staff, amongst the other stuff that CDC's been doing to its staff. And while it hasn't been spread through other agencies, once one agency does it, usually the others follow suit. Not all of them, and I hope that they don't. But, just one more kick in the pants to federal employees. One more kick in the pants to federal employees. Just like, I expect and intend to be taken to the mat. And, for every last possible thing that can be done to be done. But I really think this one is pretty they all suck, but this one's pretty sucky because most of the people on reasonable accommodations for their disabilities are genuine and are a genuine need. And just to make somebody have to either choose between keeping their job or choosing to combat whatever they might have to combat due to their disability just to get to work and, continue to get a check.
I do enjoy a paycheck. I'm not going to lie.
It's just pretty heartless. I know that the changes that this administration is making is attacking people with disabilities from all around, all ages, and, all walks of life. But when is it gonna stop? I don't know. I was thinking people with disabilities would be one of the last people to get attacked. But dang, dude, you gotta, I have a friend who opted out or took the DRP because they had to come to terms with what they were going to do. My friend has an issue with visibility impairment where it might not necessarily, it's not good for, it's not safe for them to drive at night. And that includes dawn. Excuse me, that includes dusk time. So if you know, and the doctor has told you it's not safe, for you to drive at, as it begins to get dark, and you got medical documentation for that, you put that up, it's submitted, and it's denied, you have to make some tough decisions. Am I going to chance it for when I do leave work, and it's usually, for half of the year, it's darker when you leave work now, to keep my job, or do I just need to go on and make other arrangements? That person, my friend, chose to make other arrangements and took the DRP, but I don't know. I mean, that's a good thing for my friend that they went ahead and took that DRP and moved forward, because I think this is going to roll around to the other agencies. Most other agencies will likely follow suit, and pretty soon folks, won't even matter if you got a disability, won't be given consideration to give you an accommodation for that. I guess they'll just have to figure it out like the rest of us. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm interested. What are your thoughts on this week's episode of Violation of Civil Liberties? I expect and intend to be taken to the mat